Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So yesterday we did this one on Patreon, and there's just so much to keep up with every day in the news, and also in your preparations. Hopefully everybody is preparing as best as you possibly can. That's part of like what we're doing all the time and regularly is restructuring. Looking at things, I went through dates on some canned goods, found, well, there was like 7 things that had expired, and we tried to keep up with it, but, be careful.
Yes, there's definitely a lot to do, and then when you're done with that, there'll be more.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to thank again our Patreons and our newest Patreon.
Yes, thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you, Jay, for your support. And so here we go. What are we looking at? Gosh, that looks like a tidal wave of water coming in. Yeah, California is, under the target of this atmospheric river event. And this is going to be a huge one. And literally, if you look at what they're talking about, it's going to affect almost the entirety of the state, as 97% is going to be under some sort of flood warning, flood watch. And when you look at this map, the darkest green there is 8 to 12 inches with the possibility of localized much more than that in certain areas, coming in a very, very short period of time. So absolutely disastrous flooding, debris flows, you name it, it could all be happening, especially down in Southern California. This one looks like it's going to be more intense around LA, but all the way up to San Fran, and as you see, all the way up to Shasta, Redding area, over into Reno, and just touching the backside of Vegas, all the way down into San Diego. This will be a big one. Now, the good side of the storm is that it can replenish the snowpack, which is actually low for this time. But at the same time, you're going to be getting so much water onto the surface that it will absolutely be dangerous. And it seems like this is going to be certainly life-threatening. So if you don't have to go out, don't go out. And just be aware that looks like maybe a shallow puddle might not always be a shallow puddle, as we'll see a little bit later on in the video. This is Oroville Dam's main spillway, which they opened up to release because, it's going to be getting an awful lot of influx.
I know. I mean, this dam has had me nervous for years. It's this ongoing issue that they continue to have. It doesn't feel safe. I don't think it's going to last forever. Is it going to go this year? I don't think it's safe. I wouldn't be anywhere near where that dam could let go underneath. I would move. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just something to be aware of. Be aware of your surroundings as much as possible. Look at this. Why was that lady riding on the hood? Well, believe it or not, somebody stole her French bulldog. And she, our animals are our family. And I know Cindy would be right on the hood, pounding her fist against the windshield if somebody took one of our pups.
Oh, I would. It's really no different than a newborn, a child, because you love that creature. That creature cannot speak for itself. You're the one who takes the best care of it possible. You're the one who knows what they need when they need it. Nobody loves your babies like you love your babies. And just the thought that they might not be getting what they need, or somebody wouldn't love them as much as you do, or somebody would steal them for nefarious purposes. Yes, I would be on that car, and you betcha.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it's been 10 days and they still haven't found the dog. This is in Los Angeles, so if anybody has seen Frankie here, reach out, obviously. Crazy times, and this is part of the craziness. There's just a lot of weird things going on. There's a lot of weird quakes going on, watching so closely now because, again, 2024, the finale, which is just April 8th. That's 2 months and 5 days away, and February is a short month. We only got 25 more days in this month. And, I'm just watching this closely for all sorts of signs of big ones coming. And what do we got? We got a massive bullseye towards the middle of the country here. And when you zero in, as you see this to the northeast, a little bit more east-northeast of Oklahoma City, we got 31 quakes in this swarm. And, absolutely, to me, it's unquestionable that this is something that wouldn't have occurred if it wasn't for all the fracking. I've seen people saying this was a 5.8, others saying 5.5, 5.6. It's been downgraded. 5.1, 8 kilometers northwest of Prague, Oklahoma, and many, many subsequent quakes. Oklahoma didn't usually get all these quakes that we will see from time to time till they started fracking. And again, this is part of the reason why I think they do frack. I don't think it has to do with cheap and efficient energy. I think that's the cover story. I think, again, this toxifies the water supply because, they'll say, oh, it's perfectly safe. We shoot down below, or the water table, or whatever, however they want to word it. The reality is they go straight through it, and they put high pressure chemicals into the ground that are toxic, that are known to be toxic. And then you're pulling out all this fluid from the ground itself, and then you don't expect there to be earthquakes? Yeah. Look straight across, guys. Where you see Memphis, now we're heading into the New Madrid area where you have that X that marks the spot, which does go through Dallas. And, of course, it starts over at that border area. It's just craziness abounds when we really look at the system. There was a 4.9 that just, I think, went off. Maybe, yeah. Let's see. I could shift this and go to 7 days. There we go. Yeah, 4.9 over here, which again probably is higher. So, again, some quake activity. Just be aware. Because it does feel like we're going into an all-new territory. Remember, we had the swarm up here. There's still some quakes going up in Alaska. We've had a big swarm in Hawaii. This is settling down a little bit. It was over 300 yesterday. 157 right now, so it went down a little bit. But it really does feel like there's going to be some major events in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I always get nervous every year when the rain comes, because with that rain comes weird stuff. But, when I woke up, I saw this here in Oklahoma. Didn't like it. Doesn't feel good. And I do agree. I agree that it's definitely fracking. And will they ever admit it? Probably not. Probably never. Not as long as there's money to be had and beings to be poisoned. They're not going to give up their ability to have control over everything, the water supply, the food supply, and even on some level, the sun.
And look at these. Now, these are unusual. Louisiana is not known for its earthquakes by any means. And this is looking at 30 days. You can see there's 7 of them over here. They're all showing at 5 kilometers depth. Is that a coincidence? And when I looked at this, this is fracking. It's south of Shreveport on the way to Natchitoches, and it's fracking. That's absolutely what this is. I don't think there's anything in question. And when we look over here, you see somebody is just doing us a little favor and showing approximate locations of the quake, along with all the wastewater and hydraulic fracture wells, i.e. fracture wells fracking. As you can see, it's surrounded in fracking. So, yeah, they've basically set up little minefields for us to navigate through.
Yes.
And then we have this. I just wanted to, this is from a year ago. include this in pattern of earthquakes following heavy rain raises concern over possible impending tremors in California. Again, this is from a year ago, but I think it's very, very important to bring this point up again. Devastating earthquakes have a pattern of occurring after extended periods of heavy rain as seen in history. Torrential downpours, and again, we've done videos talking about the massive floods that happened in the mid 1800s, where they had to rebuild entire towns. It became entire cities buried underground because of the floods. Oh, yes, and then the fact that our history is not what we are told, and I wish I knew exact timelines. Boy, I wish I had that info to share with you guys. When we have different guides come through, often they're like, well, we can't really say that. And because they can't, because, here we are, we're having this human experience. We kind of agreed to go through a little temporary amnesia while we're having these lives as humans. And then we do know once we're on the other side, there's that big aha moment. Now, again, that depends upon what's impacted you. Severe trauma can put the soul into a period of confusion. This is absolutely what we see going on in this world all the time. They create these periods of confusion because they want the soul to just come right back into the same frequency, where it'll again be under the control of the same world system. And they do this in other worlds as well. And I know our regulars out there, they're all shaking their head like, yeah, yeah, we get you. And then somebody that's come in for the first time says, whoa, you guys are out there. Yeah, you are out there. Yeah, they might think we're drinking the Kool-Aid, but the reality is most of humanity is still drinking the Kool-Aid and not realizing that Kool-Aid has clouded their senses to such a high degree that, they're believing the illusion, this illusion that they give us through the mainstream media, mainstream science, mainstream religions, as you're looking at Chile. Now, this just feels like this was California, wasn't it? And then it was up in British Columbia, and then it was, again, it's all over the world that we're going through these extremes. Chile has a state of emergency due to massive forest fires, more than 1,000 houses destroyed. This says 10 fatalities. I saw 39 come through on another update. I mean, it seems like it's pretty bad. So again, as always, put your prayers out there. This right here, let's see, this wasn't, it was another post of this. Okay, here you go. Satellite imagery reveals no less than 7 distinct clusters of fire tearing through the landscape over a stretch of 50 miles, breaking out in a very, very fast manner. Now, are they going to have some guy, that has been harping about CONS piracy theories, say that, oh, yeah, he set them all, or some gal? Oh, yeah, he admits to setting them all. She admits to setting them all. Meanwhile, they had to drive hundreds of miles rapidly and then, set these. No. It's much easier to just, press a button and have a dew come down and start a fire in a nice little line. People are catching on, again, underlying arson pattern. Yeah, and then they're probably going to try to blame somebody that has been pointing out what's been going on. Like, and I'm saying this because of what happened to the guy up in Canada, because it just doesn't feel like he was the one that triggered this. And again, we saw those Canadian wildfires pop up over hundreds of miles all at once. How did he light them all? Again, is he Superman?
Right. I know. And this is the part that really kind of gets scary, because those who are out there trying to awaken the rest, because an awake society is a safe society. Those who are asleep, that can be very, very dangerous, because people who are asleep, they don't take into consideration the toxins, the poisons, a lot of things that they may be, getting around other people. So it's like we need more people awake. So those who are blowing that whistle, it can be scary. Weird things happen, strange things happen to them. It's definitely not something that we do for popularity or glory or anything like that. We care about people. We care about humanity. And this is why we do it. We both have interest, personal experiences that make us want to help wake up others because we know the dangers of staying asleep.
Absolutely. And we know the dangers of speaking out against the system too, so we do again appreciate your guys' support. This is Barcelona and the wider Catalonia area declared a drought emergency over in Spain following 3 consecutive years of insufficient rainfall. You have reservoirs down at 16% capacity. That's not good. That's one of the worst droughts they've experienced in over 100 years. So you have the extremes, totally. By the way, why did Monsanto create aluminum-resistant seeds? When you look at all the different patents that have been out there before something major happens on the planet, it shows you they're in the know. How are they so in the know? Are they getting told what's going on, or are they part of what's going on? The big reveal there. And here you have a little guy that's just happy to help. And this is up in northern Gaza. This is their new home. It's just plastic. And what's he doing? He's trying to prevent the rainwater from flooding the family's tent. And that's all they have. And look at how happy he is to try to help his family. Again, these are wars against humanity. And look at her, again, these people are suffering. These kids are suffering. Are they terrorists? No, they're not terrorists. The terrorists are in the governments around the world, and that's all the governments around the world for the most part. There might be a few here and there that aren't fully into the system, haven't been integrated in yet, and there might be some that are starting to resist more and more. Their conscience won't let them go along with it as we have the ascension process underway. It just boggles my mind when I see people cheering on bombs dropping that are dropping on little ones like this. Where is your head? Where is your heart? How do you let national identities get past the humanity? It just is a sign of a population that has been so disconnected from source, from the real creative force and the love that underlies all of that.
I know, this is so sad, and this is something that occurs generational. So these children are going to slowly but surely learn the truth, and they're going to remember what their parents went through, what their mother had to go through. Maybe they lost a sibling, maybe they lost a parent, and they hold this. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they, grow up feeling hatred and anger? It's because the system indoctrinates, the system does this in such a deliberate nature. Ultimately, we are all human. We all come from the love of source, all of us, and we're in a state of amnesia, and we're also in an emotional dark age. We look at each other, we see each other still as separate, when in reality we are all one. We are all co-creators. We have the ability to change this. Everyone has the ability to send energy of love and joy to someone else and help that person get through their day. A lot of people really, they don't recognize that, or they don't utilize it because they think that it's not real. But energy movement is very, very real, and it really can help. At the same time, other energies that are put to practice bring harm, and our control system, they know all too well about these energies and these ritualistic practices that bring great harm, and that's really sad. But there's more of us than there are them.
Absolutely, and they do what they can to try to, in their minds, alleviate themselves of karma. But the reality is you can't. it's an impossibility. It comes back to you, if not in this life, in the next one, or in the in between. And when we look at these beings, when they do pass on, there's like just an emptiness there. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about beings like, say, an HRC, like, say, an Adolf Hitler. These beings that, and so many others, again, the Queen, etc. There's just this darkness there. They've literally destroyed their own souls. And again, our emotions are as real as anything, and more real in reality. We do take our emotions with us. You don't bring anything physical with you. You do bring all your experiences and learning. And what do those experiences have an effect on? They have an effect on our emotions. And in this world, we're taught to be logical and to restrict our emotions, and to put logic above emotions, and all that is part of the disconnect from source and from the planet itself.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely very, very important to do the work, do the soul searching, find a way to heal. And when I say that, I'm not implying that anyone is broken, but I am saying that we did come here to follow a certain path to help other people. And in doing so, the healing process is how we branch ourselves off. That's how we expand ourselves to other people. It's how we make a difference when we decide to step in that realm of healing.
Everything about this system, when we really take a step back and look at it, is going to come out to be objectively just ignorant, dumb, stupid, and kind of like, how could we have believed any of that? When you see a new study finds global plant growth accelerated thanks to higher carbon dioxide levels. Well, nature has put the plants to balance the animal life on the planet. So, what we exhale and give off, the plants breathe in. What they give off, we need, and we breathe in. In the higher ages, in the Satya Yuga, the Golden Age, and the Treta, in the Silver Age, there's a much higher O2 amount in the atmosphere. There's a lot more oxygen, and everything. This is why things get bigger. This is why you have giants, because there's more oxygen. There's more abundance of plant life to create that oxygen. This is also part of why they, have been stripping so much of the rainforests, and again, turning everything into concrete cities, and creating desertification of such large parts of the planet. It's because they don't want there to be a very high oxygen content on the planet itself. They can terraform, and they have terraformed this planet. And the lower oxygen concentrations, for one, it does make for less robust life, and also life that is not as clear mentally, and they can't have us at our top of our games.
No, it makes us very susceptible to all kinds of disease. It makes us susceptible to depression. Not enough oxygen, it really, really has a huge effect on the body. Mind, body, breath practices really help, because they allow you to bring that oxygen into your body in such a way the body can really use it and help you heal. Wherever there is oxygen, there is healing.
Absolutely. So, exercise is a wonderful thing, and we should be balancing that yang with the yin energies of more mind, body, breath practice on a daily basis. Here you have a whoopsie, a tourist is taking a selfie there and showing the canals, and takes a little swim. Be careful where you step. Speaking of steps, 90,000-year-old footprints of multiple humans found on a Moroccan beach. The timelines that they give us purposely off. Everything that they put is so far out there is because they don't want us to understand the history of the planet. They don't want us understanding the remaking of the planet from Tiamat, because the original home planet that we are on, a remnant of, was destroyed in this galactic war. And so it's been rebuilt by the superconsciousness and those that we would call members of the Galactic Federation into what we currently have, Earth. And when you do see gigantic structures, which a lot of people are catching on to, like this, is this just a mountain? Or wait a minute, is that a petrified tree? Look at the size of it. These mountains always hit me as so weird in China. And yeah, well, when you see mountainous size fossilized trees like the Devil's Tower in Wyoming, these are leftovers from Tiamat. Tiamat was much bigger than Earth. Much, much bigger on Earth. And when you're looking at giants that are like 100 feet tall, then we're talking Tiamat. When we're talking the, 8 to 12 or even 12 to 16 foot tall giants, that could be when Earth is Earth and not when Earth was the bigger planet, Tiamat, because then you see some things that look on a scale that's just mind-boggling and doesn't fit a planet this size. Well, that's because this planet was a different planet that was much, much bigger, and it was in orbit between Mars and Jupiter, where the asteroid belt is now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when this information came forward and the understanding of the superconscious and how that stepped in to create Earth and bring her about, it was amazing. It was mind-boggling. It's a huge part of our galactic history, and I do hope to get more information, and not everything is as it seems. And then you can look at some things and say, well, why do they have these doors that are so tall and people that are so small to walk through them all over the place? It's all across the globe with these buildings that are huge, and they have no the history books act as if that the man created them, like a 5'5" man created some of these massive, majestic buildings. But the truth is, they have been here for a very long time, and not to just be with somebody who's 5'5" or even 6 foot. No, people that are much taller are the ones that made those buildings.
Absolutely. And we had another group come through last night for the first time in channeling, and we weren't able to really get any new definitive information to share per se, but they just introduced themselves. As there are, again, some people that are not familiar with the channel might say, how do you know these things? Well, because we have conversations with beings that are not from here on a regular basis. You can call it channeling, and it's not all channeling because some of it is in a regular waking normal state. But yeah, a lot has been through channeling. When Cindy's completely under, that's how they came through in the middle of the night last night. And it's a different group because there are so many groups that just can't wait because we're so close to the possibility of real freedom. And one of the things they were talking about was how they love to watch this planet and see the interaction that goes on that the people on the surface don't even realize is going on between those beings that live inside the Earth that we don't even notice. Sometimes they really do come out and they walk amongst us, but they look so much like us that, if you are somebody that's intuitive, you got your light body activated, your pineal glands functioning, you'll catch that there's something different about that person, but you might not know exactly what it is, but you might just feel like, there's something different about that one. And I can't put my finger on it. Well, a lot of the beings that do, and they do show themselves to us, are from inner Earth and under the oceans. And I was trying to get like solid numbers out of them, which they wouldn't share at this point in time. But they just said, suffice it to say, that as many people as we have on the surface, there could be, it's probably not too far off, the amount that live inside the Earth again. So we might be thinking there's 8 billion humans on the planet, of which that number might be way off, way off. That could be even not really even close, because again, it's coming from the control system. And then there's all these beings that are inside the planet. And it's not that all of the beings are subject to this system. No, it's just us on the surface that this group has laid claim to, saying these are our slaves. And no, we're not their slaves, because again, the soul wasn't created by any Anunnaki, it wasn't created by any Draco, and our souls here can go where theirs can't, because they have given in to the AI Borg, because again, the AI is ultimately not a human-built AI, not at all. It wasn't even on this density. It wasn't even from this universe originally.
Wow. You know, it was very interesting, and after Mike told me some about that, I kept thinking, how fun would it be to be someone that has this knowledge, who can just step back and watch the interactions between two different worlds? I mean, the curiosity, and it's not just these beings. There's different groups, and they know and they understand what is going on Earth, and they're scientists, and they're very indifferent. They don't choose a side or anything like that, but they do watch the interactions between humans. They watch human evolution. They're very, very interested in it. And also, I was thinking, as above, so below. If we have this many people on Earth, then, well, yeah, inner Earth is going to be populated, but I just don't think it's populated the way that we perceive, because we are so limited in our perceptions.
Absolutely. And at some point in time, we will interact. Some of us will interact with those inner Earth beings and the extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, much, much more openly. But if the choice is to become part of the AI Borg and go into the, the cell cities is what we call them, then no, the system's all you're going to know. And that's really sad, because there is absolutely amazing times ahead. And, this may be the most challenging single year in many ways. I do kind of feel 2024 is in some ways probably the single most challenging year. Not that everything's going to break and be perfect afterwards, but that it just feels this is kind of a peak year where everything has been building towards, and it's going to shift, not necessarily again, oh, ding dong, the witch is dead, it's all over, okay, everything's roses, we're in a golden age. Now, if people are telling you that, they're just trying to get the views, and they're just trying to take advantage of people, and they're wanting to be told that everything is perfectly all right. Don't worry, everything is going to come out just fine. And I do understand that some people, can't handle the reality. But the reality is it's going to be a challenging year. We can see that the system's not going to release all of its energy resources, which is really what they look at us as, willingly. No, they're going to try to do their best to hang on to as much as possible, but they're not going to hang on to everybody. That's the bottom line. They're not going to be able to stop the awakening. The awakening is happening, and it's happening in droves. And it's not just that we have a certain level of abilities due to past lives and light bodies being activated, because so many of our regulars that are commenting on the videos have incredible abilities as well. And there's been times where you guys, some of our regulars, has helped us out to such a high degree with their energy work. Because we are going to all be expanding our consciousness and our abilities. And on the other side of this, the humans that stay natural are truly going to look like superhumans. And again, that's another part of this whole picture when you look at the stories that we get from Capcom and Marvel, and come out of Disney and all that, with these mutants, and then you have others that have these superpowers because of technology. Yeah, absolutely. They are creating technology-based super soldiers. They are creating tremendous drone armies and et cetera, and they've already been in existence for a long time. But it's also because there are going to be those humans that naturally are developing abilities that we wouldn't have thought possible. And when we look at beings like some of these gods from mythology, like a being like Thor, for instance, that really is really an allusion to the type of abilities that humans are going to be able to develop, at literally controlling elements. And obviously things that will seem like child's play, like telepathy and clairvoyance.
Mm-hmm. One thing I've been seeing recently with our regulars, we were talking to one very special person yesterday, and the activations that are happening right now, and they're very physical. I mean, you can feel them. You have the activations. These abilities are inside of you. But integration is so important. Just because you have an activation doesn't mean you can start just doing magical things. There has to be a level of integration, and that does include mind, body, breath work. It allows these energies to come in and conform to the human body and be useful so that we can use them here in the 3D. But there's been a lot of activations lately, so that's been curious to watch.
Absolutely. So we look forward to your comments. As always, much love and gratitude for you guys being with us on this ride. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.